Okay, a warm welcome to each of you for joining us from around the world today for today's webinar, Discover Tunisia. We are excited to have such a broad range of individuals joining us from the United States and Canada, Europe, the Middle East, Australia, Asia, and of course, Africa. Today, you'll be hearing from our guest speakers about the strong economy, favorable business landscape, and global initiatives supporting foreign direct investment into Tunisia. Next slide, please. A recorded version of this webinar will be shared later this week, along with case studies featuring Tunisian success stories in automotive, robotics, aerospace, and ICT. If what you learn in this webinar interests you and you'd like to learn more about your company's opportunities for potential expansion into Tunisia, please reach out to our team at FDI Business Diplomacy, either through LinkedIn or email at contact@fdibd.com. We would be more than happy to arrange a meeting for you with the key representatives of the Invest in Tunisia Agency. My name is Samantha Duma. I'm a founding partner of FDI Business Diplomacy and honored to be moderating this exciting panel of special guests. FDI Business Diplomacy is a boutique advisory firm with an international team focused on driving investments between economic development organizations, investment promotion agencies, special economic development zones, and companies around the globe. Our mission as a company is to bring a modern approach to foreign direct investment and truly make the digital world our gateway to learning about and accessing real opportunities in the international business community. So we want to thank you again for your participation in this virtual webinar today. We've partnered with Invest in Tunisia to raise awareness among North American companies and site selectors in particular on the multiple advantages of expanding into Tunisia. Tunisia is securely ranked as the #1 most innovative economy of the Arab and African region. With the help of our honorable speakers today, we look forward to demonstrating why Tunisia has achieved these accolades and what to expect as a foreign company exploring possible expansion opportunities in the region. Invest in Tunisia is a one-stop shop for foreign investors. The organization provides information on investment opportunities, advice on the appropriate conditions for success, assistance and support during the creation and implementation stages of the project, as well as contact facilitation and advocacy with other government authorities. And I'd like to say they have been absolutely wonderful to work with in preparation for this webinar today. It's clear that Invest in Tunisia team is passionate, dedicated, and effective in supporting foreign companies entering Tunisia. For those who have just joined us, welcome. I would now like to introduce our presenters today. We will have time. Okay, perfect. We'll introduce our presenters. There we go. First, we have Mr. Abdelbasset Ghanmi, the General Manager of Invest in Tunisia. From the US Embassy in Tunisia, please welcome Mr. Matthew Jamrisco, Economic and Commercial Officer. AmChams has played a key role for American companies, and we're pleased to have Mr. Nasser Hadoussi, President of the American Chamber of Commerce of Tunisia today. And sharing the perspective from a large American company, please welcome Madame Hend Rekik, Operations Director of Amphenol Group Tunisia. Madame Rekik, would you please start us off by telling us about Amphenol's experience as an American headquartered multinational company with continued expansion into Tunisia? Welcome, Madame Rekik.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. My name is Hend Rekik. I'm the Operations Director of Amphenol Group in Tunisia, and I am a founder, executive member, and the president of the HR and Social Committee of the Tunisian Automotive Association. With my following presentation here below, I will give you an overview about the Amphenol Group, its presence in Tunisia, why Tunisia, and I will be ending by sharing with you our next steps and investments in Tunisia. So the Amphenol Group has been founded in 1932. With its 88 years history, Amphenol is a market leader in interconnect products, providing a high technology interconnect solutions. Amphenol is having leading positions in diverse markets with its expansive global footprint, and 78,000 employees worldwide. The net sales of the group was $8.22 billion US dollars in 2019. Next slide, please. The Amphenol is a market leader in interconnect with its diversified segments. As you could see here, we have 8 segments, and the IT Datacom is having the biggest share of sales with 27%, followed by the industrial 23%, and then mobile devices 14%, and the automotive field is having 18% of the global sales of the Amphenol Group. Next, please. Amphenol is leading technology in a large range in power management, fiber optics, sensors, harsh environment, high-speed bandwidth, and in radio frequency. Amphenol has more than 100 locations in 6 continents and has more than 78,000 employees around the world. If we have a look on the sales of the group Amphenol by region, we could see that North America and Asia are having each of them 38% of the global Amphenol Group sales, while Europe is having 21%, and the remaining 3% are for the rest of the world. And I could mention here that Tunisia is counted as part of Europe. Next, please. In Tunisia, Amphenol is represented and present by 3 plants, one in the region of Manzil Bourguiba and the 2 others in the region of El Fas. The Manzil Bourguiba plant is called Casco plant, and it has started its production in 2002. It is producing sensors and power source for mainly General Motors, Daimler, BMW, among other customers. The 2 plants in El Fas are Amphenol Tunisia and Rekik. Amphenol Tunisia has started its production in 2009. Amphenol Tunisia is producing automotive cable harnesses for mainly Daimler, BMW, Audi, VW, among other customers. And the Rekik plant is the oldest plant of the Amphenol Group in Tunisia. It has started its production in 1996, and it is producing also automotive cable harnesses, providing and suppliers Autoliv, Value, Sanden, and TRW mainly. This is a global overview of our customers that our Tunisia plants of Amphenol are supplying. Next, please. The group has chosen Tunisia as a destination for its investments for many advantages. I would start by the strategic position Tunisia is having, while it is at less than 3 hours flying time from the European capitals and major cities of the Middle East, and at less than 20 hours by sea from the major harbors in Europe. Tunisia is a regional hub, and it is the prime location for the investors wishing to serve neighbors. We have a solid and strong industry spirit in Tunisia, leading for an economic competitiveness, and I cannot miss and skip talking about the talent tools when I speak about Tunisia, and this is thanks to the performance education system, the high potential of graduated pool, and the competencies in R&D. Tunisians have a very high multilingualism. They speak French, English, German, Spanish, and other languages. Arabic is the tongue mother it's the tongue, sorry. We have the availability of a qualified component local suppliers in Tunisia. And for our case, Amphenol, I can mention Coffee Cab, Mista, and Plastil, among many other local suppliers. Since its creation in 2015, the Tunisian Automotive Association is providing a strong and structured support not only to Amphenol Group plants in Tunisia, but to all the companies operating in the automotive field in Tunisia. The next investment of Amphenol Group in Tunisia will be an R&D center. In fact, the Amphenol Tuchel Electronics GmbH headquarters, TEA, which is based in Heilbronn, Germany, has taken this decision to have its R&D center in Tunisia thanks to a successful experience and a real success story of the group of the ETA with its subsidiary in Tunisia, which is Amphenol Tunisia, which has started its production in 2009, as we saw previously. And Amphenol Tunisia is nowadays the biggest plant of ETA, covering a total product range, and Amphenol Tunisia is also producing the high voltage and the high power connectors for the new generation of the vehicles, the battery electric, the hybrid and electric, and the mild hybrid electric vehicles. And in addition to this, there are many reasons, any other reasons, among which we can talk about the fact that Tunisia is close or overlapping with the ETA key markets in Europe, USA, and North Africa, as well as to the customers, development center, and of course, as we said previously, the availability in Tunisia of qualified resources of engineers, and also the good infrastructure Tunisia is having. This R&D center will be starting its activities by the beginning of next year. We will be hiring and onboarding our team by the first quarter 2021, and we will focus in installing the equipment, the softwares, and the training our teams. And our target is that we get this R&D center starting having its autonomous product design by the third quarter 2022. And this is the experience Amphenol Group is getting in Tunisia. Thank you for your attention. That's it from my side.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Madame Rekik.
You're welcome.
If you have questions for Hend, Rekik, or any of our speakers today, we invite you to submit your questions throughout the webinar in our chat. So there's two ways you can submit questions. The first way, you can click on the Q&A tab in your menu system and submit your questions that way. You can also send questions via the chat channel as the webinar runs in real time. And please feel free to send your questions, and we'll be opening up to a Q&A period, posing those questions to our panel of guest speakers towards the end of the webinar. So thank you. We invite you to submit your questions. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Abdelbasset Ghanmi, General Manager of the Invest in Tunisia Agency, to share background, assets, and key initiatives that support foreign investors in the region. Welcome, Mr. Abdelbasset Ghanmi.
Thank you, Samantha. Warm welcome to all our participants, and I would like also to thank all our distinguished speakers today. Today in my presentation, I will be focusing on investment opportunities in high value-added activities in Tunisia. But I will give you an overview of foreign direct investment in Tunisia. And the main subject will be Tunisia, your smart destination. And also I will go through the major assets of Tunisia. Next, please. As you can see, Tunisia is a favorable destination for foreign direct investment. We have a long history with foreign direct investment. We start attracting foreign direct investment since the early 70s. Tunisia is home to more than 3,600 foreign companies. They are providing over 400,000 jobs. 75% of these companies are fully exporting, 80% are from Europe. And there is an increase mainly made by existing companies. Next, please. Substantial foreign direct investment are mainly in the manufacturing industries. As you can see here, the share exceeds 50%, and it is mainly driven by huge investment in the electric and electronic industries, in particular in the automotive components and the aerospace components. Next, please. Here we will give you an overview about the North American presence in Tunisia. We are focusing on the United States and Canada. About around 70 companies from the United States. They are very active mainly in the manufacturing industries, while Canadian companies are very active, in particular in digital and innovative activities. We have seen this trend in the last couple of years. There is a strong interest from North America, in particular from Canada, in the information communication technologies. Next, please. The main subject, as I mentioned, is innovation. And the Tunisian innovation ecosystem is based on three pillars, main pillars: R&D within the education system, the private sector, and the market need are in continuous interaction in order to foster innovation and creativity. The whole system is supported by both public and private financing institutions at all levels. Support mechanisms are also available to ensure and develop bilateral interaction between the three pillars with bespoke programs, agencies, and initiatives. Next, please. The existing innovation ecosystem have placed Tunisia among the best innovative economies in the region. According to the Global Innovation Index 2020, Tunisia is first innovative economy in North Africa, 13th worldwide for scientific and technical articles, and 8th worldwide for expenditure on education as a percentage of GDP. Next, please. In the context of rapid innovation and technological progress, the Tunisian digital industry is fully engaged in emerging technologies. As you can see, thanks to our confirmed know-how, IT companies in Tunisia are able to tackle innovative technologies, challenges, whether it's artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, augmented reality, virtual reality, blockchain, or big data. This rich and diversified ecosystem has also allowed many Tunisian companies and startups to expand internationally and to operate worldwide. Why we succeeded to attract so many foreign companies and Tunisia maintains still competitive advantages in this regard. The main asset of Tunisia is the availability of a large pool of talents in Tunisia. We have over 60,000 new graduates per year. 35% of them are oriented in the engineering and ICT fields. And Tunisia is ranked second country in the world in terms of graduates in science and engineering. So this shows that Tunisia is able to provide the right skills at competitive cost. Next, please. Tunisia holds the greatest concentration of research among Arab and African countries, with 50% of scientific publication in North Africa, showing a strong R&D culture among its talent. And we have seen even in the automotive components industry, there is a lot of R&D activities. The availability of large pool of graduates, in particular in the information communication and engineering, within engineering. It should be mentioned that most of foreign companies are 100% managed by Tunisian thanks to the availability of skills at all management levels. And we have seen that Ms. Hend is one of them, but many other companies from different parts of the world are managed by Tunisian managers. Next, please. In addition to the high level of quality of its talent, Tunisia is one of the most competitive countries in the world in terms of labor costs and other operating expenses, utilities, infrastructure, and so on. So you have here a benchmark of costs of labor, in particular within the engineering and also operational activities. Next, please. Tunisia holds also some of dedicated IT infrastructure, including technoparks, cyber parks, competitiveness clusters, data centers at international standards, and Class A offices ready to use, plug and play. Next, please. Tunisia has also a multitude of integrated and developed facilities aimed at promoting R&D and innovation activities. And here we have been focusing mainly on three major technoparks in Tunisia. One in the north, which is one of the largest in Africa, which is dedicated to telecommunication and ICT. The second one is 150 kilometers south of Tunis, which is in Sousse, which is dedicated to mechatronics, and a lot of innovation, robotics are developed within this facility. And the third one is south in Sfax, which is dedicated to multimedia and ICT. Next, please. The second asset, which has been mentioned by Mrs. Henda, is our geographical position. Of course, Tunisia is well positioned and can be considered as a gateway between Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. And we have already a free trade agreement with Europe, several free trade agreements with neighboring countries, and also from the Middle East and from the Arab world. And we are enhancing our integration in Africa. We are joining eastern and western parts of Africa, in addition to historical links with sub-Saharan African country. We have also several bilateral and international agreements, one with the USA, another one under discussion with Canada, and we are looking for a free trade agreement with the States in the near future. Also, we have a friendly business environment, so investment in Tunisia is free in most sectors. There is no restriction for the transfer of profit and capital in Tunisia. There are simplified procedures for the implementation of foreign companies in Tunisia, and all the procedures are made on site for to ease the import and export. Substantial incentives are granted to priority sectors. We have around 20 priority sectors, including automotive, aerospace, high added value service activities such as the digital sector, with 15% subsidy. We have also for the employment, we are encouraging employment. So there are substantial grants for companies which employing mainly graduates, because it's priority for the Tunisian government. And also we are encouraging regional development with a grant reaching up to 30% of the investment amount, the exemption from income tax up to 10 years, and also the exemption from the social contribution, which can go up to 10 years or so. Next, please. We have initiated really a good, the Startup Act, which has been considered as the most innovative and high impact project, which enable really to develop, and we have seen that many startups are now growing, and hundreds have been already labelized, and it has been ranked as the first in North Africa and Middle East. It's really a good sign that the government is looking to encourage private entrepreneurship and encourage Tunisian capabilities to develop their own projects. Next, please. Last but not least is the quality of living in Tunisia. Tunis is considered as one of the least expensive in Tunisia, and the good weather and all the facilities and the commodities which are available in Tunisia make Tunisia as an attractive country for expats. Next, please. And I think I would like to thank you for your attention, and I am ready to answer all your questions. Now, before I hand over to Mr. Matthew Jamrisco, the Economic and Commercial Officer at the US Embassy, I would like to ask him, as he has been recently appointed in Tunisia, to give us or to share with us his first impression about the country.
Sure. Thank you very much, Mr. Ghanmi. Yes, as you mentioned, I arrived just in July, but I can tell you, you know, it can be a cliche when people say they go to a country and they find a very welcoming people, but for Tunisia, that's been very true for me and my family. And I've also been struck by the level of talent here, the level of education. I get to work with two incredible staff on my commercial team, Tunisian citizens, but it really comes across in the business setting too. The level of entrepreneurship and innovation is just incredible. And I also have to mention, on a practical level, for US businesses who are unsure about language barriers here, it's, you know, English is not one of the official languages, but I can tell you in the business setting, you'd be surprised at the proficiency of business people here in Tunisia with English. And I know that can be, you know, just one additional piece to facilitate business transactions here. I also have to mention, you know, I've been very interested in Tunisian history since I arrived, and for those of my fellow citizens in the U.S., if you're not aware, Tunis, Tunisia, is the present-day site of the ancient civilization of Carthage, which was built upon the expansive trade networks that it had. So it's, I think it's still very much in the DNA here. Well, first, let me give you a little bit of background on the U.S. Embassy's mission here from a commercial perspective. Just like all our embassies abroad, or virtually all our embassies abroad, there is a commercial presence. And so what we do is we attempt to facilitate foreign and direct investment from the U.S. Into the host country, so here being Tunisia. We also promote the export of U.S. goods and services. And we help improve the local business climate when we can to make foreign direct investment more attractive. You may not know that domestically in the U.S., you have U.S. export assisted centers, over 100 of them nationwide, that we work with to facilitate U.S. business into Tunisia and vice versa. So why Tunisia? My counterparts covered a lot of this, but to give you a little bit more of the U.S. Embassy perspective, Tunisia is the only democracy in North Africa. So that makes things easier on a number of levels. It's also just one of 3 democracies in the Middle East. Practically speaking, again, no visa is generally needed for U.S. travelers. And, you know, for U.S. firms, Tunisia really appreciates the cutting edge technology that the U.S. private sector can provide. I think U.S. firms also have a competitive advantage when it comes to reliability and transparency as well. You know, I could do a whole presentation on this, but just to give you a very brief overview of what we think are some of the U.S. opportunities right now in terms of sectors, hydrocarbons, power generation, of course, renewable energy, aeronautics, healthcare, safety and security, ICT are all very important right now for Tunisia. And top sectors in terms of exports would also include some of those sectors, of course, technology very broadly, healthcare, tourism, and franchising, I should mention, has really picked up here in recent years. If you're not already aware, I think just maybe under 2 years ago, the US government formed a new initiative called Prosper Africa, which I know my colleague, Mr. Hudusi, will address after me. But very briefly, this is the cross-agency effort to dramatically increase trade between the US and the African continent. And that includes, a renewed focus by our Exim Bank, Development Finance Corporation, and US Trade and Developmental Agency as well. And if it's any indication of where Tunisia falls in the US priorities, Tunis was selected as the site for the Prosper Africa Conference for Africa in February. And Tunis is also going to be the site for the North Africa Infrastructure Roadshow, along with Cairo, next year in September, likely. Next slide, please. Not to be too repetitive, but I'll just address the energy component here. So again, this is a very hot sector, I think, for U.S. firms to get involved in. And as evidence of that, Tunisia aims to generate 30% of its power from renewable energies by 2030. And currently, production from renewable energies is just 3%. So there's a lot of room there for growth. And in construction as well, particularly the higher end IT components, US firms, I think, have a competitive advantage, as well as in ICT and tourism. Next slide, please. This is just to highlight some of the commercial services available to you as US firms that we offer out of our embassy, again, along with my two amazing colleagues. So this can really save you a lot of time and money. We offer things like the initial market check, which is an initial assessment of the Tunisian market for your product or service. Another popular option, or probably the most popular, is the international partner search. So particularly in the COVID era, when travel to Tunisia may not be as feasible right now, we can investigate and do interviews with potential partners or agents, companies willing to import your product possibly, and then we provide you a comprehensive report on those potential partners, and then we can also facilitate the introductions. Next slide, please. Here are just a few more resources available to you. Obviously, it might be difficult to copy down the links, but please do, if you're interested in the Tunisian market, Google Country Commercial Guide or Investment Climate Statement, and those documents will appear. Those are annual reports that our team puts together, and it provides a comprehensive view of what it is like to invest in Tunisia in various sectors, and guides you through various processes here. Next slide. And once again, I want to give a nod to my team, Sam Awadi and Maha Ben Suleiman. I think US companies, if you talk to any of them who have received assistance from Sammy or Maha in the past, they are a tremendous asset to the embassy and to the US private sector. They have facilitated a number of partnerships and have helped US companies through a number of challenges to help them get to a successful partnership here, a successful investment. So Happy to take any questions at the end, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gemrisco, for this informative presentation and for providing all these very practical tools for our audience. This is extremely helpful. Now I would like to present the president of the Tunisian American Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Nasser Houdoussi. Mr. Houdoussi, would you please give us an overview of the tools that American companies have for investing in Tunisia? And potentially tell us a bit more about Prosper Africa. And we're going to allow you to share screen on your side so that we can see the presentation you've prepared for today. Mr. Houdoussi?
Hi, Samantha. Thank you for having me. I'm just sharing my screen. Can you see it?
Not just yet.
Okay. Here we go.
Here we go. Here we go.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
At the American Chamber of Commerce in Tunisia, we do have many success stories to share. I mean, about American companies doing an amazing business in Tunis. Just recently, Honeywell moved their N95 masks factory from China to Tunis. So just to let you know that we're attracting many American companies. I just came back from a trip to Middle East and the US, where I met many Chamber of Commerces, and I can tell you that most of American companies are not aware about the amazing tools US government put in place to boost investment in Africa and of course in Tunisia. Those tools include the market research, funding, and full capital guarantees. In addition to what Tunisian government has to offer, let me tell you a little bit about the Prosper Africa. As Matt said, it's a US government initiative to increase trade and investment between the United States and Africa. So it works also for Tunisia. For the first time, the Prosper Africa brings together the resources of 15 US government agencies to connect US and African businesses with new buyer, suppliers, and investment opportunities. I mean, you can see the list of those agencies. I mean, I'll let you, I will go through them. It's State Department, Department of Treasury, Department of Defense, Department of Agriculture, Department of Commerce, Department of Energy, Homeland Security, USTR, USAID, Exim Bank, MCC, OPEC, US Small Business Administration, and this is very important. So you don't need to have a big size or to be a big size company to come and invest in Tunisia. The United States African Development Foundation and the US Trade and Development Agencies. Each one of those agencies will help you expand your business to Tunisia and assist you from deal identification to deal implementation. So it's a one-stop shop. The Prosper Africa will help you identify deals in Tunisia through workshops, conferences, trade shows and market intelligence, matching platforms, trade delegation, and of course, the American Chamber of Commerce will be fueling the pipes with the market intelligence. Many tools are provided to US companies to evaluate the deals, such as due diligence, technical and financial feasibility, commercial advocacy, transaction advisory services, project preparation, risk mitigation, licenses and permitting, bidding and contract finalization. And by the way, some of those services can be even financed by grants. So it won't cost you a penny. The Prosper Africa will help you structure the deal. And this is the most important part because it involves financing and risk management. In this phase, for example, USAID directly funds and provides technical and transaction support, including market analysis for deal right sizing, risk mitigation, and the engagement of external resources through matchmaking and partnership. The most important, US companies will get easy money to invest in Tunisia. This can be done through direct loans. For example, the EXIM can provide financing to international purchaser of US capital equipment and services extended up to 12 years, to 12 to 18 years for renewable energy products. Financing can be done through direct loans. You can get from 1 million to 1 billion in loans. It depends on the project. The loan tenor can go up to 12 years. The rate type can be fixed or variable. And let me go to the next slide. It can also be done through equity financing. So the equity can, the amount of equity can go up to $30 million, and the EXIM bank can do that. This initiative will secure your money. That means there are tools that will cover the risks of wire non-payment for commercial risks like bankruptcy, can replace cash in advance, letter of credit, and other documentary sales. This initiative can guarantee loans. That means it will provide guarantees to lenders, financial or foreign buyers' purchase of US capital equipment or services. That means if you sell equipment or services, and if you don't get paid, this initiative through EXIM Bank can give you the tools to protect your assets. This also includes working capital to US exporters for pre-export financing. Investment guarantees. The DFC, for example, will guarantee US companies full investment and ensures all political risks. That covers up to $1 billion against losses due to currency inconvertibility, government interferences, and political violences. And also this includes terrorism. Final, the deal implementation. So this initiative continue assisting US companies in overcoming any trade obstacle once you start your business through diplomatic advocacy and economic diplomacy. Those agencies and the American Chamber of Commerce will lobby on your behalf if needed and make sure that the investment and trade framework are open and transparent. That means those agencies will continue to protect your interest, advocate on your behalf, and help you make money. So I think everything was said. You have the tools, you have the money, you have the warranty to come and invest in Tunisia. Investing in Tunisia has never been so easy. So you can establish your business in Tunisia and go after the African market. Keep in mind that back south, we have a whole country that needs to be rebuilt. Rebuilding Libya will be, we anticipate that rebuilding Libya businesses will start very soon. Use the tools Prosper Africa has to offer, and of course, the American Chamber of Commerce is here to help you. Thank you, and I'll be open for any questions, and I'm sharing with you my contacts.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Hudousi, for that great presentation. We actually received a few questions. One of them might be a great question for you. Let's see here. So we're officially going to open up our Q&A period now. And Mr. Hudousi, you were speaking about banking. Let me just get this question back open here. It's from Usama, who is leaving Dubai and wondering and planning to invest in Tunisia, but wondering only with the bank process. What is the maximum percentage that a bank will offer, and what is the interest? Do you have, Mr. Hadusi, do you have any insight on that or on that question?
I mean, I would love to ask back Mr. Osama if he's willing to bring foreign money or trying to get loans from Tunisian banks, because it's completely different.
Okay.
I mean, if he's bringing foreign money, I mean, I think if he's willing to get loans from Tunisia, the banking system is very competitive, but I think that the rate is around 9 to 11%, and probably he needs to secure at least 15 to 20% of the total investment. But again, it depends on the project, on the business plan, and I would love, I mean, to continue helping Mr. Osama after this webinar.
Okay, great. We welcome you to follow up via email. You can always reach us directly at contact@fdibd.com, and we can make introductions or refer your questions over to the appropriate delegates on the call today. If you didn't manage to get their direct email addresses, we are here to support with that. We have a few questions from Lara Goldmark, and this is for Hend and Rekik. She's curious whether Amphenol products are hardware mostly, and what percentage is software? She's, Madame Rekik, are you available for questions?
Yes, so if I understood the question, she's asking about the percentage of the software in our activities.
Yes, versus hardware.
My answer is it depends. Yeah, it depends on the activities. We have equipment we don't need software at all, and we have equipment which are working only with, let's say, huge softwares. And it is really depending on the activities, whether it is manual or automatic, and it differs from one, let's say, field to the other, and one machine to the other.
Okay, perfect.
But if she has any additional information, also I will get glad to get any question later after this webinar and to answer to any question from the participants.
Okay, wonderful. And a few of the participants were also wondering, are Americans allowed to travel to Tunisia right now? What are the COVID restrictions at this time, or any visibility in the future?
For this,
any of our panelists, yeah, any of our panelists could jump in. Matthew, did you have any insight on
sure.
that?
I can go after Madam Rekik.
Okay.
Please, Madam.
Yeah, let's say no restriction to come to Tunisia. The only thing which has to be, let's say, followed is that we have to be, let's say, conforming to the protocols of each country for this, let's say, protocol, sanitary protocols, and this mask protection and hand washing, and it is according to the local protocols that we will have to respect. But I didn't hear about any restriction to come to Tunisia. The only thing is to respect the sanitary protocols of the country. Of course, there are many zones, red, green, orange, and there are some confinement, quarantine periods according to the region from which our visitor will be coming. And this also, all the informations are provided via web and internet locations that people could consult and have information and more information about coming to Tunisia in this special context of coronavirus.
Wonderful.
Thank you. And I was just going to add, from the U.S. Embassy perspective, for U.S. citizens traveling to Tunisia, we would encourage you to go to the U.S. Embassy in Tunisia website and the U.S. Citizen Services tab. That has the latest travel advisory information. Again, of course, just for U.S. citizens. Thanks.
Okay, wonderful. We have many questions coming in. There's a question from Maya Yang to all participants. Is there incentive from the Tunisia Ministry of Health regarding foreign investor of biotech research, such as importing lab or pharma equipment? Mr. Abdelbasset, would you have any information on that? So
yes, indeed, we have a few questions, but I will try to address the first one. Of course, there are within the investment law, there are substantial incentives according to the activity of the company. So it depends if there is an added value, if there is regarding the employment and also the implementation of the company. So we have to check the exact activity. If it is an investment, I think we are talking about a commercial activity rather than an investment.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, we have, I have already some, I have to answer to a few questions if you don't mind.
Yes, please do. Please
yes,
continue.
the first one, could you develop the challenges for foreign investment and what's the mitigation action? Of course, any investor in any country, he will face many challenges, and the challenges now are more than ever before. The most important thing that we are ready to help the foreign investors. So we are not only looking for new investors, but we take care of existing ones. So we have aftercare service for existing companies and also for newcomers. So we advise foreign investors to get the right information and to know how to proceed and to deal with the right people. And then I think they will face less challenges. But from our side, of course, we are looking to improve the business environment on a daily basis and to make also the life for investors easier. So we are looking for more digitalization of all the procedure regarding the implementation of the registration of companies. So all the services they are on will be digitalized. So there is an acceleration process now with the COVID-19. So the most important thing that investors, they will find the right partners. I think Invest in Tunisia Agency with AmSham, with US Embassy, and with all our partners from the public and from the private sector, we are ready really to support any foreign investor looking to expand its activities in Tunisia. The second one, what is the percentage of manufacturing investment in agro-processing? Of course, today we have been mainly focusing on other sectors, so we have been focusing on innovation, but I have to say that there is a lot of innovation in the agribusiness sector. So we have been talking about biotechnology. It's really one of the most important sectors in Tunisia, and also the most important thing is that it's a partnership, because most of the investment have been made with Tunisian companies, but with a know-how from abroad. So most of the companies, they are in partnership with foreign investors, and it is one of the most, the first employing sector in the manufacturing industries. Do you consider, the third question, do you consider to balance the FDI weights in favor US company is an opportunity to deliver marks to Africa and MENA? Of course, we are looking for US companies to to profit of the business competitiveness in Tunisia, but because we know that the local and the domestic market is very limited. It's a country of 11 million inhabitants, but we consider that Tunisia should be a good gateway to other potential markets such as Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. And this is the case for US investment and other countries. They are using Tunisia, they are employing Tunisian capabilities for their projects for the African market. Well, the last one, what's the best way to identify other companies in my geographical area? I think in different areas in the United States that are currently working in Tunisia in ICT sector. Of course, we have the figures and we have a database of foreign companies and US companies, by the way, but unfortunately don't know from which area they are, but we can help if they are looking for more details. We can provide, we can answer to their requests. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Ghanmi from the Invest in Tunisia Agency. We have several other questions on the chat, and so we'll make sure to get those answers to you in following up after this webinar. This concludes our session for today. To learn more about the investment opportunities in Tunisia and to request a meeting with Investment in Tunisia or any of the representatives on the webinar today, please reach out to FDI Business Diplomacy team directly, either via LinkedIn or email at contact@fdibd.com. And on behalf of the teams at Invest in Tunisia and FDI Business Diplomacy, we would like to thank everyone for joining us today and contributing to such an insightful discussion about Tunisia. And I want to give a special thanks to all of our speakers today, Mr. Abdelbasset Ghanmi and Mr. Ziad Braham and their team at Invest in Tunisia, our honorable speakers, Madame Rekik, Mr. Matthew Jamrisco, Mr. Nasser Hidusi. We would also like to give a special thanks to Mr. Omar Gija, the CEO and co-founder of Wally's Car, who did a pre-recorded interview with us in advance of this webinar, and also Mr. Hicham Mokni and Mr. Fouad El Kamel of Aviana for sharing their story with us. And of course, our entire team and partners at FDI Business Diplomacy, Bob Dean, Linda Arsenault, Salil Mohan, Brad Knapp, and our technical facilitator, Mark Angus from Knowledge Executive today. So thank you everyone for joining, and we look forward to connecting with you via email after this webinar to provide you with some case studies, some more information, and answers to any of your outstanding questions. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again next time. Goodbye.
Thank you, Samantha, and I would like really to thank FDI Business Diplomacy team and also my team here at Invest in Tunisia for all the effort made to make this webinar successful. Thank you again for all our speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, guys, and have an excellent day.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.